Howdy, friends and neighbors, and welcome to Torch's News Roundup number 5. We've got a wide array of subjects here this week, so let's not waste any time. First up, Warren Beatty made some news recently at CinemaCon where he said he still intends to make the long-awaited Dick Tracy sequel. He was quoted as saying, "I'm serious about it, but I'm slow about these things." That's an understatement to say the least, but in fairness, the film rights to the character were tied up in legal red tape for decades. Beatty only won the rights back in 2011 after a long-fought legal battle. Upon getting the rights back, Beatty actually did a little-seen TV special documentary in character as Tracy, being interviewed by Leonard Maltin. Presumably, this special was created to extend Beatty's option on the property. You can find the special here on YouTube. Warren is rapidly closing in on 80 years of age, but if we're willing to give Harrison Ford a chance to return to Indiana Jones, Han Solo, and Blade Runner as he approaches 80, I think we ought to afford Warren the same courtesy. I really enjoyed the original film, and I'd like to see a sequel. The main problem is most of Tracy's most famous and popular villains were killed in the original film. That's why I always figured that the film was intended as a one-shot only. I guess they could use Flat Top Jr. and a few other noteworthy characters from the comics. The other problem is similar to the problem facing the Indiana Jones franchise, the time frame. Dick Tracy, at his advanced age, can't still be living in the mobster's heyday of the 1930s. It's more likely to have the film set in the 60s, where Dick became a space ranger in one of the strip's less favorable eras. Will Dick Tracy once again report for duty? Only Warren Beatty knows for sure. We'll just have to wait and see. Rumor and speculation have been surrounding Michael Keaton's involvement in the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Homecoming. Reportedly, he'd be playing a villain that hasn't been featured in a Spider-Man movie before. That's led some people to suspect that he'll play the Vulture. Now, that does seem like something right up his alley. Batman, Birdman, Vulture. There is some symmetry there. Personally, I'd love to see him play Norman Osborn. I think he can play the kind of creepy, sinister vibe for Norman perfectly. The only thing is, I don't think Keaton is the type of guy that gets tied down to a multiple film contract. I think he's more of a one-and-done type actor. And Norman is, and I'm sure Marvel wants him to be, a main player in the Marvel Universe that should impact the MCU over multiple films. That's something the MCU really needs, a real strong overarching villain. Again, this is all pretty much speculation at this point, but I really hope Michael Keaton gets the role in the new movie. He's a great actor, and despite my lukewarm feelings on Tim Burton's Batman films, he really was great in those movies. Hold on a second, folks. I've just received a bulletin that says that Deadline is reporting that Michael Keaton is not going to star in Spider-Man Homecoming. Well, I knew better than to get my hopes up, but it's still disappointing. In a related story, former Green Goblin actor Willem Dafoe is said to be signing on to the new Justice League film. Now, before you get too excited pondering just what villain he could be playing, word is he'll be playing a heroic role. Dafoe is the second actor from the Spider-Man trilogy to be cast in the new Justice League film, joining J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. I see a trend emerging here. I'm hoping the next bit of news we hear is that Zack Snyder has secretly been replaced with Sam Raimi as the new director of Justice League. Well, I can dream, can I? Apparently, it's now official that Robert Downey Jr. will be involved in Spider-Man Homecoming. This isn't really too surprising, since I'm sure part of the deal with Sony was to include as many Avenger crossover characters as possible to boost interest in this third reboot of the Spider-Man franchise in the past 15 years. Insiders say the role will include his suiting up as Iron Man. It's also been confirmed that Robert is also signed up for Avengers Infinity Wars Part 1 and 2. Looks like the Sci-Fi Channel's proposed Krypton series is getting ready to film their pilot. It'll be directed by Cole McCarthy. Can't say I'm overly enthusiastic about the concept. It's going to be centered around Kal-El's granddad trying to restore honor to the House of El. Now, I can kind of get interested in the series if we were centered around the final days of Krypton and Jor-El's clashes with General Zod and so forth. But who can get excited over Kal-El's granddad? That's like Gotham being about Thomas Wayne's dad. Do we really care about events that far back? And finally, Boyd Holbrook was cast as a villain in the upcoming Wolverine 3. The only word on his character is that he's the chief of security for a global corporation pursuing Wolverine. This is supposedly Hugh Jackman's last turn as the Wolverine. Frankly, I really wish they'd go with Omega Red as the main baddie. I think he's the last big Wolverine villain not to get a shot in live action. If this is the last film, it would be cool to have Sabretooth back too for some closure. Another rumor coming out about the film is that it'll include the character of X-23, the young female clone of Logan. The film is also rumored to be a version of the Old Man Logan comic story. It has been confirmed, however, that Patrick Stewart will be reprising his role as Charles Xavier for the film. Well, that about wraps it up for another week. Are you looking forward to Krypton or the Dick Tracy sequel? Who do you think Willem Dafoe is playing in Justice League? Let me know in the comments. And as always, God love you for being here. I really mean it. This is your host, Johnny Torch, reminding you yet again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.